Let's take a look at some of the options you can configure in your TriCaster session so you can optimize it for your production needs. Here I am in my system, and you can see I've got a bunch of video sources already connected. We've got some people coming in on inputs 1 through 4. I myself am on input 5, and a PTZ camera happens to be set up on input 6. We've also got some video clips that are loaded into the system and playing in my DDRs and graphics players. Now, you might not be using all of the inputs on your system. You might have some that are going unused, or you might want a different layout of how everything is displayed, and we can adjust the multi-view to accommodate those needs. This can be done by going to the top of the screen, putting your pointer in the menu area, and you'll see a menu appear called Workspaces. If you click under Multi-View 1, this will allow us to adjust the primary interface multi-view. And you can see different letters, and each letter represents a different configuration. So we're looking at the A configuration right now, which has all of these sources set up. If I go to B, you can see these sources, and you can see that C and D have other things visible. Now, you can change these out or even load completely new layouts into the different letters. For example, let's go to my B layout, which right now has these sources, and let's say I want something different. I can select under Workspaces. With the B checkmarked, we can go to Load Default, and then these are all the different layouts you can choose from. Now, these are all just presets that you'll start with, but you can further customize them that I'll show you how to do in a second. So for example, let's say I select this one called Media Players. You can see it gives me 4 video windows over here right now that show us the DDRs and graphics. But let's say that's not what I want to see. I'd rather see cameras 1 through 4 on these inputs. I can right click on a viewport and see this menu appear. And all of these things you see in the menu, these are different options of what can be substituted into that spot. So for example, we could go put input 1 right here. I'll right click again, put input 2 here, and so on, input 3 and 4. And now I've got a layout that has my first 4 cameras along with my preview and program outputs visible on screen simultaneously. Now, these windows over on the side can also be swapped out as well. You can right click here and you can see a bunch of different options available. Some other things we can choose from. Let me go back to my A layout. Let's say on input 7, I'm not going to use it. I'd rather put something else in this spot so that I don't have an empty area, but I could fill it with content I'd like to see. Perhaps I want to put a buffer in here. I've got a buffer loaded in buffer slot 1. We can right click, go to buffers, choose buffer 1, and now I'm making this video visible on the interface. And for input 8, I'm going to right click again, and let's go to the clock, and you can see now I've put a clock on the screen. So there's a lot of different ways you can customize the interface based on your needs. Now, this is not limited just to the primary interface. If you have additional monitors connected, they can become multi-views as well. For example, on this system, if we look at the secondary monitor, it currently is set up to be a full screen video output, but we can change that. Let me go back to my workspace menu. Underneath multi-view 1, if you see any additional multi-views listed, these are additional monitors connected to your TriCaster. So you can see I've got a multi-view 2. The A layout is currently a full screen visible output, but let's go to this B layout and switch back over, and you can see this gives us a 4x4 16-way layout. I'm going to go switch to one other one, and there's another layout that you could choose from. And again, you could right click on these and swap out any of the video sources as well. Another aspect available is the ability to put some overlays on the screen. Let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to put myself on preview for right now. And you can see on the preview window, it's showing me the video. And you'll notice that over to the side, I have audio meters that are appearing. Let's say I want to make some changes to this. We can right click, go to overlays, and these are different things we can turn on or off. So for example, for the VU meters, I could hide them if I don't want to see the audio meters on the side of the window. Now, those are not going to be visible on the actual output. They're just on the computer screen, but maybe you don't want to see them. You can choose whether they're visible or not. Or maybe you're doing a production, this is widescreen, but maybe you're also going to be making a vertical video version of the same program. So it would be useful to see where the vertical video would be extracted from the current camera shot, I can right click on here, go to overlays, and we've got a 9:16 safe. This shows you everything inside would be the vertical video part, everything outside would be the widescreen part. And again, none of this is going to show up on the output, it's just on the computer screen, so you can use this to better frame your shots based upon your needs. So there's a bunch of different options here you can choose from. You can turn them on or off based upon your needs and customize all of your different workspaces and set them up for how you want things visible. Another aspect we can configure is the naming for the video windows and the buttons on the interface. We can change these by clicking on the gear for the corresponding input. And then in the window that appears, go to the name comment area. Open this up if it's not already open. And here we can enter the name underneath the monitor and the button that corresponds on the switcher panel. So just as an example, let's say I'm going to put my name on here for both. You can see when I hit close, it's now got my name here and my name on the button. Now you can put a much longer name underneath the video window. Let me just show you here. I'm going to add the camera number. So let's say this is camera 5. And over here, while it doesn't stop me from typing that much, you notice that it can't fit all of that information on the screen because the button is just too small. So you're just going to have to make sure you keep your stuff within a certain length so that it will fit on the button as needed. So take your time, set up your interface for what works for your needs, rename your inputs so that they're easy to find and address. And once you're ready, we can start switching with our TriCaster system.